Okay. Marion writes in a podcast website advocating changing some, not all of your stocks and bonds to higher yielding options for the first 5 years of retirement to offset the chance of sequence of return risk. After the 5 years, then slowly changing the higher yielding options back to the original allocation. I could appreciate any comment. Marion's listening to another podcast talking about saving money from risk or sequence of return risk.
Yeah, and so the way to do that is to get into higher yielding bonds.
Well, I think what they're doing is don't sell the stock, just live off the dividend.
Mm-hmm.
So then when the market recovers, you still have your shares. I think that is so hard to do. I mean, you look at it depends on how much money that you're spending, right?
Yeah.
I think it's marketing.
Well, and plus when you start looking at higher yielding bonds, those
or
are
higher yielding stocks or higher yielding whatever.
Right. At least in the case of the bonds, those are riskier bonds, and those tend to perform more like stocks when in bad markets. So just be careful of that. The way I think about this, I think a better way to think about it is if you need $50,000 from your portfolio each and every year, okay, then maybe you take 5 years. So that's 250,000 and have that set aside in very safe, high quality bonds that aren't going to pay much, but it's going to be there. Or maybe you take 10 years if you want to be ultra conservative. No matter what the market does for 10 years, you can take 50,000 a year from this portfolio. The market will recover. The last Great Recession, which was the worst we've had in 100 years, almost. That took 3 years to recover. But if you were doing rebalancing, buying more stock when stocks were down, it took more like 2 years to recover. So it doesn't take forever. And if you've got 5 or 10 years in very safe money, you should be able to ride out virtually almost anything.
So there's multiple ways for someone to create income. There's the dividend or high yield strategy. That's one. There's the bucket strategy. There's the annuity strategy. There's all sorts of different things. So I think first off, you got to do some planning up front. You're listening to all these different ideas and, oh, that sounds good, or this sounds good, or that sounds good. Start from the way beginning. How much money do you have? Do you have enough money? How much money are you spending? What is your fixed income sources? What other income are you going to receive other than your portfolio? And then you can start constructing an overall strategy to give you the income that you need long-term. So be careful of these fads, right? I mean, hey, we're going to call this the yield zone, right? Well, what the hell does that mean? Then they think it's a scientific term. No, it's just an advisor, putting a trademark on a saying that he can market. And, hey, we have like our buddy, the bucket, the buckets of money.
I was thinking the same thing.
Are you prepared for retirement? Schedule a free financial assessment with an experienced financial professional right online at purefinancial.com.